Okay, I am testing out a new system. Okay, I'm testing out a new system with automatic. Oh, shoot. There you go. I'm testing out a new system with automatic captions as I'm recording. So if the captions aren't totally correct or if things are looking a little janky, that's why. And I've been having a hard time finding articles that I really like on Substack. A lot of the things on Substack are kind of things that people have already talked about a lot on TikTok or on other podcasts, but this particular one really, really stood out to me. It's called Not a Trad Wife Nor a Career Woman, but a Secret Third Thing. It's by Stella Tate from the publication Faint Glimmers of Civilization. The link is going to be in the description below if you guys want to check out the article, as well as my own Substack. There it is. Right now, most of the posts on there are just me uploading my YouTube videos, but I do have some other articles on there, like this one. It's about my gripes with there not being CD players in cars. And then trauma dumping, which we love. But back to the article. So this one's by Stella Tate. Basically, it's about the conversation around being a girl boss versus being a trad wife. Now, something that you have to understand in order to get this article is that in our modern society, being a stay-at-home mom is generally seen as a bad thing, right? Because the way things used to be in the past, women would stay at home, men would go to work, and the problem with that is that it would open up women to financial abuse, right? Because you're relying on a man, and that man can change, that man can become problematic. So over the years, people have encouraged women to get jobs and to take care of themselves. Now, there's also a conversation to be had about whether or not that also has to do with capitalism, right? I mean, if you're a business owner, it does benefit you if women are working as well so that you have more labor. But yeah, for the most part, I think the women that are encouraging other women to not be housewives are doing it out of genuine concern of financial abuse. And the article does acknowledge that. I think they say so somewhere around here. I'll put the quote on the screen, but they say something about that in the article. Now, Stella, the author of this article, she does want to work, right? She doesn't like being a stay-at-home wife. She doesn't even have children, right? So she's not trying to be a stay-at-home mom. The problem is that she lives in the US and she doesn't have the right paperwork, so she cannot get a job, even though she would like to have a job. She says, the trad wife versus career woman debate is pointless. It's a heavily politicized conversation to the point of caricature, and there's very few seats at the table. The golden child of first world problems from the get-go, and being from Spain, I didn't get it. What do you mean these people are at each other's necks over whether to stay at home or not, as if it was a choice anyone could make? Yeah. It's not really a choice. We often shame women who stay at home, but it's not really a choice in a lot of cases. I mean, for one, if a woman really is being financially abused, then it definitely is not a choice. But also, there's plenty of situations where people want to work but can't work. They can't find a job, the economy's bad, they're disabled, they're elderly, they don't have the right papers, like this lady here, she doesn't have the right papers to work. So what is she supposed to do, right? And then on the flip side, a lot of women that are working, we have this idea that like the women who are working regular jobs are there because they're feminists and they want to earn money and be independent. But the truth is that most women don't really have a choice. They have to work, right? They don't have somebody who can just give them money. If they don't earn money, their families will starve. So where's the real autonomy there? Like, I have to work, right? I've been unemployed for like 3 months now since I graduated college, and I think I'm gonna get a job soon. I'm currently in the process for that, but during those 3 months of unemployment, it was really hard for me because I genuinely needed the money. Like I can't afford to lounge around at home. I would have loved to, take a break and travel or do some soul searching before diving back into the workforce, but I literally can't afford to do that, right? I graduated with like no savings. I think I read a whole article about that. But yeah, I literally couldn't afford to do that. So this wasn't a choice for me. I'm not a girl boss because I want to. I'm a girl boss because, like, what other choice do I have? Right? I come from a family that genuinely needs me to work. And this kind of also reminds me of another conversation. Let me get a sip of water real quick. But this kind of reminds me of another conversation about the I don't dream of labor movement, right? Like all those people who say that they don't want to work, they want to work to live and not live to work, and they want to have work-life balance. Work-life balance is a privilege. You don't just get work-life balance because you want to. You get work-life balance if you are lucky enough to get work-life balance. Some of us genuinely have to work. Like there's no alternative, there's no breaks, there's no vacations. I saw a video on YouTube of a younger guy closer to my age talking about how he was very frustrated because the trucking company he was working for was making him work 14 hours when he didn't want to work 14 hours. Now, he's my age and he probably doesn't have any kids. So truthfully, he doesn't really need to work 14 hours. But there were a lot of people in his comment section telling him that, hey, look, I know that you don't need to work 14 hours, but some of us have families and we genuinely do need to work 14 hours a day or more in order to survive. There are people that would gladly work 16 hours a day if it means that they can put food on the table for their families. So where is the autonomy here? I like this article because it basically explains the fact that we don't really have a choice in this conversation. And the only people who truly have a choice are the rich or the privileged. We have this idea in capitalism that everybody gets a choice. You get a choice about whether or not you work or whether or not you don't work. And if you're not working, it's because you're lazy or corrupt or conservative. It can't possibly be because you don't have a choice. And if you are working, it's because you're a hardworking person with morals. It can't be because you're being held hostage by your finances. And then right here she says, "What am I doing with my life? I thought. I was falling deeper and deeper into a pit of depression and anxiety. I was terrified of a life without purpose. So terrified, I thought about having children years earlier than I had planned. Thankfully, I didn't go through with it. It would have been for all the wrong reasons." Yeah. I think we're often encouraged to have children to fill in some kind of void, right? You're somebody who's working all day, or maybe you're not working, and either way, whether or not you're working a dead-end job or you're not working a job, you don't really have a choice, and you feel like you have no control over your life. So a lot of people have kids as a way to confront that insecurity. And is that really a good idea? Like, if this woman did have children, she would have been bringing up her children in an environment where she wouldn't have the money or the financial autonomy to help her kids if it came to that. So I do think that it's good that she made that decision not to do it. But a lot of people do. Another thing is also like career growth, right? I watched a video from the channel How Money Works talking about how people are turning down promotions because they want work-life balance and because they don't think that the pay raise is worth it. And I think I saw somebody in the comments that was like, wait, people are getting promotions? Like, yeah, like who's getting promoted, right? Whether or not you have career mobility is not up to you. It's often not a choice. Some people are working in fields with limited opportunities. Some people have disabilities. Some people have felonies. If you have a felony, you're not going to be able to climb that corporate ladder. Like, there are some jobs that you literally can't do if you have a felony. So there's a lot of reasons why some people can't be these corporate juggernauts even if they wanted to. And it's kind of gotten me thinking, why are we putting so much value on things that truly aren't really in our control at all? Okay, so right here in the article, she kind of talks about like the existential dread of having to clean the house over and over and over again. Now, truthfully, I don't think cleaning is the hardest job. And I think that if you get into a good routine and you stay organized and you have a system, cleaning can be very easy. But cleaning is one of those things that there's no path forward. You're doing the same things over and over and over again. I'd still have to clean the effing house because it's not going to clean itself. Might as well delete the dirty, dusty, borderline haunted house. That's my LinkedIn profile. Like, if you're cleaning, you're just cleaning over and over and over again. It doesn't get better. It doesn't go away. As opposed to a job where you can move forward, you can grow, you could get a promotion, you could get a higher paying job. So it kind of feels like there's some higher purpose there, as opposed to just endlessly cleaning the house. I like this quote here, this last one. It says, the people who advocate for women to be housewives are trying to regress our freedoms and rights. The people who advocate for women to have careers are mostly trying to protect us from being financially abused. I know who deserves my trust, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I don't have a seat at this table, and neither do many women I know. It's not as simple as the internet makes it seem. The illusion of choice. Yeah, basically there's no choice. Pretty interesting take, honestly. I think I kind of wish I'd read this article a while ago. I think it would have given me a different perspective, because I definitely think that when you're doing things that you don't really want to do, it can make you feel shitty. But I think when you realize that like it wasn't ever in your hands anyway, you can try and focus on other things. So yeah, hopefully it works out for Stella.